Can you beat Elden Ring without dealing damage or throwing a single hit? The answer is yes, and there are many tricks of the trade that make it possible. Boss cheeses, glitches, and shortcuts are allowed on this run, but every boss needed to reach the end must be killed. As my 5th grade teacher used to tell us, cheaters never prosper, unless they get away with it, like the New England Patriots and Boston Celtics.
I'm not ashamed, not one bit.
Many deaths were involved in making of this film. That includes many horses and many dogs, so don't get PETA on my ass. Because of spirit summoning, you can do damage without actually doing damage yourself. And using the environment around you, you can also lead weak-minded enemies to a swift and painless death. The only weak-minded one might be me with how long it took to kill some of these bosses.
No! God, please, no! 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 No!
But as Mr. Miyagi once said, not matter who's stronger, matter who's smarter. I've heard many players call it the Pacifist run, but I like to refer to it as the Environmentalist run, or Pokemon run, because just like Ash, your Pokemon do all the hard work for you. With all that said, let's not waste another moment. Here's my odyssey in playing as a pacifist, environmentalist, Pokemon trainer. Got more self-imposed titles than a SoundCloud rapper.
A few moments later.
For looks, I went with the blue Smurf look, stylin', profilin', and for item I chose the Fanged Imp Summons. To top it off, I'd be Jesus. In any pacifist run, you're gonna have to go with the Prophet. Due to its faith and spellcasting abilities, you can't go wrong. Reaching the first steps, I was ready to begin my journey into hell, where I could only do damage by summoning things. Check out this beautiful man with a bowl cut, blue tint, and porn star mustache. Jesus the Smurf was ready to go out into that big world we call Elden Ring and fuck bitches and get paid.
Oh shit, here we go again.
Literally no preparation at all, just jump right into fighting the beastmen of Farum Azula, because you're going to need to get every rune from as many bosses as possible. We can't just go out and grind for levels. Most enemies don't have a summoning sign to fight them against. This should just be called the run instead of the pacifist run. Run, Forrest, run.
Run.
Next, with our newfound running through the game ability, we're going to head down to Sophia River, then to the banks. Instead of getting Radahn Source Seal, we're going to need Marika's Scar Seal for this run. Grab yourself a gold pickled finger so we can use it against enemies later. Be wary of these heat-seeking missiles, because they'll leave you with more than just a flesh wound. After getting past restless natives, like a Disney Jungle Cruise ride, you're going to head to the teleporter and go on through. Next, we're going to gallop past the Sleeping Chieftain, reach the waterfall, and grab the Scar Seal. The Scar Seal is important because it gives a boost to Mind, Intelligence, Faith, and Arcane. Next, we're going to head to Blind Mr. Miyagi to get the most important, underrated spell in the game, Rejection. Even though Rejection is an attack spell, it does no damage.
Attention, all maidenless tarnished. The great Kenneth Height needs your help to reclaim his fort from the evil knight, commander that invaded from Stormvale. But to do this, what he's gonna need is a reward to give you. Now all you need to provide him is, well, a few things. Your credit card number, don't forget the 3 digits on the back, and yeah, the expiration month and year, but dude, you gotta make it quick. Otherwise you'll lose your chance at becoming Elden Lord.
Don't let Kenneth Russian Hacker Height steal your credit card. We're going to launch him off into space like Sputnik. After 300 Gerard Butler kicking him off the edge, we are rewarded with a golden seed. This is the first of many environmentalist kills throughout the run. Margit, or later known as Margot, not sure about the gender, seems the creators were as confused as a band geek. Fighting him, you're given the ability to summon Rajir. Let me just say, Rajir is a sack of shit. Every death I had, he'd die before my Fanged Imp summons. If you start out with them as well, you're going to need to boost them to +6, or your deaths will be doo-doo and reflect the same as mine.
I do not fear death. Someone must let
some of the best summons in the game to get early game. Because of the bleed damage and the relative health, it made all bosses a breeze up till the capital. These little shits can dance too. They move mean around the map, plotting their next hit like a drunken Irishman.
What's up, everybody? Put my whiskey down, notorious Irish whiskey.
Oh, that whiskey tastes so good.
As you can see, I came into this thinking I was going to clap Margit's cheeks off the bat. 63 deaths into the run, it became clear that that was not going to happen. If you have the patience of a tweaking meth addict like me, then this run is for you. On the other hand, if you have the patience of a Buddhist monk, find some other game to play. No, in all honesty, I knew after this boss that this challenge run was not going to be easy. I don't think I had ever had 63 deaths at the start of a run, let alone not being able to level between bosses. After breaking 15 controllers and 4 keyboards, my Fanged M summons finally pulled it off.
Do me a favor, please. Get out of here. Get out of here, man. Shit, I'm saying.
Next, let's head to the heart of Leonia's side of grace and fight Commander Neil. He'd be swinging that commander's standard like a drunken flag bearer at a rival high school football game. This boss was stupid easy because you could just lure him over the rot pits and he would take rot damage over time. Eventually it was just me, after my imps died, luring him back and forth over the rot pits. He does give you a healthy plunder of runes at the beginning of the game at 12,000. I was slowly shifting into more of an environmentalist than Greta Thunberg by using all my surroundings.
Yet you all come to us young people for hope. How dare you? You have stolen my dreams and my childhood with your empty words.
Get your ass over to Lenny's Rise and fast forward to nighttime until you see the Knight's Cavalry on the bridge. If you thought Commander O'Neill was an easy way of getting rooms, I'm going to show you a better cheese that gives you much more. Stand exactly where I am and wait till he jumps onto the branch to jump back onto the bridge, making him plummet to his death. Sometimes you'll get stuck in between the branches, so to get him unstuck, you just gotta jump back onto the bridge and then he'll eventually get unstuck.
Oh my god, stop, bro, I'm stuck. Can you help me?
Do you feel dirty? Do you feel cheap?
Just King Joffrey here, galloping around, making my imps do all the heavy lifting for me. After leaving Pallet Town and getting my Fanged Imp summons, I want to be the best that ever was and catch them all, said the anti-vaxxer. Head to the Purified Ruins to get the Two Fingers Heirloom to boost faith, which is the most important stat other than vigor in this run, and controls health given to allies when healing them. This talisman boosts faith by +5. If you have any questions or you're concerned, call 1-800-HEAL-ME. Next, I went to go fight Godric, and after many deaths, I killed him, but died at the same time. Elden Ring, unlike Dark Souls, has this broken mechanic of sometimes giving you the kill but not the runes, which I didn't want, so I was happy that that didn't happen when I killed him the first time. The tornado attack he throws out made me feel like a circus midget in a stuffed multi-human car crash. Imps do be hitting that big bleed damage on him, making it a walk in the park. The only hard part is the second phase where he spam throws up fire. Naturally, you have a shit summon because it's the beginning of the game, so they don't have enough health to live long enough against his second phase. This is where you can easily sink or swim in the Pacifist run, because you have to learn where to place yourself to get each heal off. I wouldn't even call Leonin Misbegotten a boss battle, but just a rune fodder for the beginning of the game. For some reason, unbeknownst to me, George R. Martin and Miyazaki decided to give this nobody boss the coolest looking greatsword in the game. After the imps quickly clapped Leonin's cheeks, I was off to fight the easiest dragon in the game, to build their confidence before I swapped them out for a competent summon meant for the late game. No big ale tossing aside these homies, I wasn't getting rid of them anytime soon. This flamer didn't hold a flame against Thing 1 and Thing 2, and after being hard boiled like some of Mark Zuckerberg's smoked meats, I was ready for this fight to be over.
I'm making meats now. Smoking these meats here. Our little meat smoking. It's smoking. So, I'm the meat chef. Yeah, someone asked me, do I smoke meat? Smoking meat. Smoking these meats. Smoking meats earlier in the day. Smoking these meats.
Sprinting into a rock point blank from the dragon's mouth worked swimmingly. It was too late in the day to become a smoked meat for some demonic billionaire. Howdy doody, crispy booty. Thing 1 and Thing 2 looked like some rednecks coming back from a full day of cornhole tossing and needed to be DUI tested with those throws. After getting a measly 5,000 runes from the dragon, I was off to fight the tree sentinel for another measly 3,000 runes. At this point, the only reason why I was over-leveled this early in the game at level 45 was because of the Knight's Cavalry cheese and the cheese on Commander O'Neill. Our Donner party was butchering this horse with the bleeds, and we were going to savor every rune until we had to fight Renalla. Next, we were going to fight the giant slink dildo, the ulcerated tree spirit. After getting gaped by him the first couple playthroughs with no vigor, something told me I was going to be doing the gaping this round. The last 3 bosses I fought were skippable for the Pacifist run, but this one giving you 15,000 runes, Banished Knight Oleg as a summon, and a golden seed to fight him would behoove you. I personally wouldn't level up Banished Knight Oleg once you get him, because there's a much better summon once we get to the capital that I'll show you. After, head over to Cario Manor because we are going to start the long and arduous process of getting Dung Eater as our mid-game summons. Fighting Royal Knight Loretta was pretty easy with the Fanged Imp summons because most of her moves miss them due to how small they are and how fast they can move. The way they bob and weave back and forth and leap forward like Anderson Silva works really well against magic shooting bosses and prevents them from getting hit a lot. After fragging her to death with their plasma grenades, it was time to start Ronnie's quest line. Feeling like I could kill myself with how long this boss battle went on. Next, you want to uncover this hidden area next to Ronnie's tower. Going into Selvis's BDSM dungeon, we can see he's a little too into role-playing for a man who gives off a vanilla sex type of vibe. Cat's out of the bag, quite literally, when I went and confronted him on what I had seen, and he turned into a blubbering fool trying to cover his tracks. Grab Selvis's potion and save it for when we meet the Dung Eater, or should I say Ass Eater. In order to level properly, we need to kill more than just bosses, and there's a perfect exploit in the run using the environment that leads to enemies jumping off the edge. Head to the Rose Church to meet with this White Glove Society charlatan and get the bloody finger. Okay, I know what you're thinking. We're going to be doo-doo patoo-doo at PvP since we can't attack, but that's where the environmentalist exploits and rejection spell come in handy. You actually don't need to win 3 invasions, just participate in them. So like any recreational T-ball league, we will get a snack at the end just for trying. By the way, I still won 2 out of 3, so this build actually works pretty well early game. If you use your surroundings, the feeling of trolling your opponent into killing himself can be beat.
We do a little trolling. It's called we do a little trolling.
Feeling like Donald getting his Twitter account reinstated by Elon Musk, I was back with a vengeance to put my enemies in their grave, but passively of course. All my stats were in dodging and bombing and weaving. This guy didn't know what was about to kill him. Potions and spells won't save him now. This is a battle of attrition, and Big Baby Wesh is losing it, mentally and physically. I could only imagine what my opponents were thinking. Why is he not attacking? This saintly figure dressed like the High Sparrow. Having him on the back burners, he knew life was flashing before his eyes. Like my lacrosse coach would say when we were up 15 points in a game, what do we do to a dying animal? Put it down. Remember to not forget to kick your enemies when they are down with the rejection spell. After vanquishing this sad excuse for a PvPer and delivering him the hand of God, we were off to Moog's palace. This is where you'll encounter the alien version of Do You Know the Way? And it's beyond me why Miyazaki created this Pepe version of an alien in the game. When you arrive, ride over to this edge with your horse and jump over. This will be your #1 grind spot in the game, to unalive lemmings and get runes for it. These little guys have as much will to think for themselves as daily Fox News and CNN listeners.
Fatality.
After grabbing the Academy Glintstone key, head over to the debate parlor in Rea Lucaria to fight Sif's copy, our few Elden Ring first-timers, Red Wolf of Radahn. Naruto's one-tailed fox might be one of the easiest bosses in the game, and is extremely vulnerable to bleed damage, so this boss is a breeze with our summons. At this point in the game, there hadn't been any boss that was so challenging I had to rethink my life and which summon to use, but that was about to change. After putting down the Red Wolf of Radahn in a dark alley, we were off to fetch a new summons to fight Renalla. Head over to the Impaler's Catacombs to fight the Erdtree Burial Watchdog to get the demi-human summon. This was the first time my summons had encountered their own kind, and like juiced up, enhanced Russian Olympic athletes, they were taking them to the cleaners. For some reason, the Japanese makers didn't have Google Translate when making the game, and don't know the difference between a cat and a dog, much like the American players not knowing the difference between a turtle and a dog. But the Erdtree Watchdog name always throws me off. With the demi-humans in hand, I upgraded them to +5 before going to fight Renalla. I thought by now I had mastered the ways of the Force, but like Obi-Wan in his long hiatus from being a Jedi, I had lost my power. Luckily for me, Moongrum Carrion Knight was weak-minded and easily susceptible to Jedi mind tricks, and just like Darth Maul, he was about to take a dive into the abyss.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
This is by far the most daunting battle in the run so far, and like I've said before, if you have the patience of a crack fiend, this fight under these circumstances is for you. I think this was the longest single fight I've ever had in a run, and it lasted 30 minutes until I finished it. There are speedrunners that could probably beat the game 4 times by the time I barely mustered up the strength to beat this one boss. The main problem is you can't tell your summons to stop playing whack-a-mole and go hit the roulettes, which is what makes this an extremely long fight. You can go make cursed blood pots to help your summons focus an enemy, but getting the beast blood in order to make them is exceedingly hard, if not impossible to farm. There's literally only 2 physical places in the game to get them. There's also an added problem to this. You can't hit the enemy with the pot or it will do damage, but you have to throw it exceedingly close where you risk accidentally ending the run. I'd highly suggest stacking up as many golden seeds to heal your summons as you can, and only use the heals every time they are all clustered together. For me, Rejection worked amazingly in her second phase because she couldn't do any damage to any of the demi-humans, so they kept her pinned down like Piper Perry starring in one of her blockbuster hit movies. She can kill your demi-humans pretty easily with a couple of her moves, so force pushing her into the ground and keeping her in a constant state of being gangbanged is your only option. Elden Ring is definitely the game where you're encouraged to kick others down so they don't get up. After keeping her in a churn cycle for the last 5 minutes, I was starting to see every summon dwindle and die off. It becomes a Pokemon battle towards the end with summon versus summon.
I'm a trainer and I came to challenge the gym leader!
That last demi-human, can you do it? Can you pull it off? He's scraping. Buck her up, dude. I believe in you. Come on, Thomas. Come on, you can do it. Just a couple hits. Holy sh... No! Okay. We got it, boys. We got it. Next, head to Celia under Stair, Side of Grace to get the nearby summon called Rot Dog, or Dog Meat, or Sacrificial Lamb for the purpose of beating this boss. Trust me, he serves a higher purpose, but get ready to get blue-balled and finishing off the boss multiple times.
2 hours later.
No way, what the fuck? Dude, that's some bullshit. Me, dude. That health bar, though. That's so close to death. The Sacrificial Lamb had one job, and that was to leave a toxic enough bite to make Mr. Draconic Tree Sentinel tumble off his high horse. Who knew he would have the much important job of opening up the land of Wano for me to get the Dung Eater summoned and toss him aside like Kim Kardashian or Amber Heard looking for a new boy toy.
I was just thinking, like, heard about this BDE, need to get out there. Like, I need to just, like, jumpstart I was just basically DTF.
Or what I once thought was love for this gold-digging, low-level, dime-a-dozen, mushy, pointless, dangling, overused, flappy fish market. Did I read that right?
You did.
Damn!
After as many trials as Johnny Depp and Amber Heard have had, it was finally over and justice had been served. Before getting Big Daddy Dung Eater, I wanted to test the last bastion of hope, my Fanged Imp summons, which I had rode on the backs of all the way to this point. Knowing bleed doesn't work on this boss, I still wanted to give him a last shit shot. They deserved the opportunity, but seeing how close I couldn't get, I knew I needed someone with a little more health. Get your hardcore parkour on, like Michael Scott or Spider-Man, jumping from building to building, looking for Mary Jane, and we ain't talking about his super major fire, sticky icky OG sour kush dummy perp addiction. Grab the seabed curse because we'll need it to get the Dung Eater as a summon. Next, return to the round table hold to get his key for the capital sewers, and ignore his amber turd-like threats. Head over to the site of Grace subterranean shunning grounds. Run through the tunnels this way to unlock the shit sewer dweller, Solaire, or should I say Dung Eater. Navigate your way past the 3 blind mice and Venus 5 traps and climb up the ladder at the end of the hallway. Lord Crapius will be waiting for you, banging his head against the wall from all the syphilis, chlamydia, gonorrhea, herpes, and hepatitis A he has contracted from eating ass. Strike up a conversation with him, but keep a safe 5-foot distance. That mouth got a mind of its own. Next, go to either the Capitol Wall Rampart side of Grace or the Outer Wall Battleground. In between those locations in the pond, you will find Bubba Gump slaughtered by our newfound friend. Assume the position for a joust, because the Dung Eater comes in like a bat out of hell, but under Newton's laws of motion, we can give that flying heap of shit a new trajectory. Sky rockets in sight, Dung Eater's butthole, afternoon delight.
I will kill you.
So this is the important part, and make sure to go slow through the dialogue. When you return to the sewer location where you first met him, and he's bound to the chair like one of Selvis's playthings, administer the elixir instead of the seedbed curse. Go over to Ronnie's Rise and jump down to Selvis's Rise, where you'll meet with the BTK killer himself. He'll offer you an assortment of his slaves, pick whichever meets your fancy. I don't show it here, but summon it before quitting out of the game, because sometimes after all of this, if you buy the summon and don't summon it quick, the Dung Eater will disappear from his inventory. Quit out of the game after making the deal with Jeffrey Epstein, and once you return, Dung Eater will be in his inventory. You'll have to gather 5 Starlight shards, but getting them is easy. Actually, the hard part is getting enough runes to level him up to +8, but after doing so, you'll have one of the best summons in the game. Next, if you're a P for brain like me and didn't level up mind at all and only faith and vigor, head over to Volcano Manor and go to the Inquisitive side of Grace to fight the 2nd ulcerated tree spirit, or 3rd depending if you fought the one at the capital. We came to fight this boss if you're a mindless psychopath like me and need more FP to summon the Dung Eater. This location has a Cerulean hidden tier you get for defeating the boss, and this will allow you to summon anything for 10 seconds regardless of FP cost. I know what you're thinking, why am I still using the Fanged Imp summons with them struggling to beat this boss? Well, because I didn't have enough FP to summon Dung Eater, hence why I have Renalla's dunce cap on. Somehow, someway, under the grace of my character's name Jesus, the last imp somehow pulls it off. After dancing around with no health for 2 minutes, and me having no more potions to heal him, he still clutches the kill. With a battle like that to end it, it was time to say goodbye to the Fanged Imp summons.
But I do not believe in love.
Like a reality TV star moving on to a new boyfriend, it was time to start a new beginning. Off the gate, Dung Eater had more health, better bleed damage, and better magic, but his only drawback is he moves as fast as a stone turtle. Against fast bosses that keep dicing out moves like Godfrey, this is a major drawback, and a lot of bosses in the late game do have fast moves, but he still had many more uses left in him. Without bleed damage against this boss, or any type of ailment you can inflict, it does make it harder, since that's what the Dung Eater relies on. As you can see, I'm quickly running out of potions and will not have enough to last me till the fight is over, much like the previous fight. After all the hard work I had to do to go out and get him, I was hoping the shit-eating, butt-licking fiend had a little bit more attack to give, and didn't want to have to repeat this boss. Sitting there spamming the rejection spell to no avail, this was coming down to the wire, just like the Renalla fight. I didn't think the first time I fought with him he'd win because I only upgraded him to +8, but somehow he pulls it off at the very end.
Are you kidding me? That's right! Who do you think you are? I am!
It's funny because after finishing the run and going back to watch how other people did it, I saw the same YouTubers saying they got Margit Shackle, but without the ability to summon against Peeve, this is impossible to kill him or get him down to enough health to talk to him. Not saying theirs is an illegitimate run, and not naming any names. Head back to the debate parlor if you haven't got the Radahn icon yet, cause me being a dumbass didn't get it till this late stage in the game, and it's important because it lets you cast spells faster. Take the sneak path and get to the giant metal testicle, and then you know you're going the right way. After you have defeated Godfrey, first Elden Lord, head to the Queen's bedchambers, where unfortunately, unlike Dark Souls 1, there isn't any Lady Tsunade big-breasted queen. Grab Blessings of the Erd Tree and use it because it slowly gives all your summons health, without healing them 24/7 like their own personal maid service. In the fight against Margot, you can summon Melina, who can heal both you and your summon, and do a decent amount of damage as well. With 2 healers, it makes this fight a literal cakewalk, and her trees do area of effect heal as well, and you best know she be blazing that hot fire, because she's always asking you to burn a tree down for her. With her and the Dung Eater doing most of the damage, it left me to be the peanut gallery healer, going back and forth between summons to keep them alive. Very challenging MLG gaming type of stuff.
I confess I'm very good at video games.
Be careful because once you get him into the second phase, he has many moves that can melt your summons, and for me he kills Melina pretty quick into his transition. Even with full health and only a couple hits left, and Dung Eater being one of the chunkiest health summons in the game, he still almost dies at the end and barely pulls it off, again like the sack of shit he is. Go to the West Capitol Rampart side of Grace and climb the hill where blind and mute Mr. Miyagi's will be waiting for you. Buy great heal from them before leaving. Yeah, this guy's got pretty good armor. Hate to see you lose it. Hate to see what would happen to that armor if it fell off the edge, man. Sending the psychopath screaming chaos off the mountain, Dobby becomes a free elf with his first set of armor. After removing the dunce cap, something didn't feel right, so I put it back on and kept it. With my new Complex Con Hype Beast drip, I went to fight the fire giant, who at this stage in the game I needed to level up more or get a new summon to fight for me. Got smashed like a clouded up goblin meeting Mia Khalifa for the first time. Went back to the Sophia River bank side of Grace to fight Bullwinkle and slay Canada's mascot. Dung Eater essentially 3 hits him to death, and after getting the runes and seeing all the slim pickings, I decided to use some out-of-game help to help fight the fire giant. I'm a firm believer in not summoning out of world, and haven't in any of my previous runs or previous From Software titles, but there was no option with this boss, unless I wanted to farm every rune in the run. During the game, I looked up how other YouTubers did it, and unfortunately all of them cheated to skip past the boss. Unlike them, who wanted to actually complete every boss battle, I looked for people to summon outside the game.
You ain't got the answers, man. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers. You ain't got the answers, Sway. I've been doing this more than you.
Technically, it's not cheating to use outside help, but it was also the last time I did so, because I wanted to complete the run without glitching past bosses. Watching how much damage Rivers of Blood did to this boss, it gave me an idea to get it and use it with a Mimic summon, so it wasn't actually my character doing the damage for future bosses. These two PvP scumbags fighting with Rivers of Blood made it so we didn't even have to go into a second phase with the amount of bleed damage they did. Instead of going to Fair Missoula, I went to go fight Radahn to gain passage to the Mimic summon so I could breeze past the late game bosses. This fight is like taking candy from a morbidly obese baby. I should have done it sooner because you can just keep summoning the NPCs and riding around. When your Tinder date asks if you're a man that's hung like a horse, respond with the General Radahn answer. I literally have a dead horse grafted to my crotch. Centaur vs Centaur, make sure you get up close and personal and give off some good heals for your NPCs if you have a lot of vigor. After riding around for what seemed like a lifetime, finally I slayed Ganondorf and rescued the Princess Rani from the Dothraki. Don't be a troglodyte like me and unequip your seal before fighting this boss. I literally took 40 minutes to kill the Mimic because it could just keep on healing over and over and over again. For some reason I thought the Imp Summon would work better than the Dung Eater, which is the most flawed logic, because he has madness damage, which inflicts tarnished with more damage. After fighting Barabbas for about an hour of force pushing each other back and forth, I was able to slay my alternate reality version of Jesus. Guide yourself past Ted Cruz's brothel, where a dominatrix lays in wait to whip every inch of your body. After grabbing the Mimic Tear, I head over to Fairham's asshole to fight Pillsbury Doughboy and Orochimaru. Haven't set up the Mimic yet to fight battles for me, but I would because even with the Dung Eater at plus 10, this fight can be very hard, if not impossible. You can summon Recusant Bernahal, and I suggest doing so, because one summon isn't enough to defeat DJ Khaled and Snoop Dogg.
Another one, another one, another one.
As the Walking Tomato says himself, another one would do the trick. I found myself splitting between summons, healing one then going to heal the other. I'd say focus your own summon more because Bernal has a potion he busts out when he's under half health. Didn't know this prior to the fight, but I guess if your summon procs a bleed when one of the duo is going down, it kills them both outright. Dung Eater with the Poke of Destiny. Go to Miyazaki's Talking Turtle at the Church of Vows and buy Lord Heal and Blessings Boon. You'll need the Two Fingers Prayer Book found in Lindale Royal Capital to purchase these spells. Next, head over to Arizona, or Volcano Manor, to get the Erd Tree Seal. I took way too long to upgrade seals and used an unupgraded finger seal for a lot of the playthrough until Renalla, so don't worry about getting the best seal early on. To go fight Rykard with my Mimic as a test to see if the Mimic summon will work on late game bosses, I had to fight Rolly Boy again. They see me rolling, they hating, trying to catch me riding dirty. This fat ass was no problem for Dung Eater, who was used to being trapped under them like the bottom feeder he was. After quickly putting an end to Nikado Avocado, we were on to go fight Rykard with my new Mimic. For Rykard, since you get the Serpent Hunter sword when you walk in, use that instead of Rivers of Blood, and equip it before you summon the Mimic. Then you can unequip it to not use it on accident, and you're ready to go. I'd also use the Flame Drake Talisman, because to heal the Mimic you have to get into the lava half the time. It surprisingly does work with that weapon. Even unupgraded, I leveled mine to +5, but you don't have to beat this. Try to use Blessings of Erdtree before he goes into Devour Gods mode. As Stephen A. Smith would say, Rykard definitely needs to lay off the weed, or tobacco, because his lungs are shot. His second phase is harder because you can't reach the Mimic in the lava fields with the healing spells as easy. He rarely gets pushed back, unlike his first phase. All in all, it's pretty easy with Blessings of Erdtree, and the Mimic does a pretty good job of tanking this chimney fish. Next, head over to Renalla to respect a build with Arcane, to at least 20 or 25 to do damage with Rivers of Blood for your Mimic. Oh, baby.
Oh, baby, a triple! Oh, yeah!
This might be the first boss in the Pacifist run that needs an extreme amount of RNG to beat. I had already made it this far, and I was not going to give up. The Beast Clergyman is a sack of shit, and not hard to defeat at all, but Malekith is a different story. I would use Golden Vow in the Commander's Standard to enhance the Mimic's attacks. It wasn't though how fast he could do damage, it was how fast Malekith could kill him. Just like Chris Rock, I was getting the shit smacked out of me. I personally think Malekith is the hardest boss in this run, because the Mimic doesn't know how to dodge his pogo stick up the ass move. It gets increasingly hard to even heal him through those hits. Position yourself behind Malekith throughout the fight, and every time he does the pogo stick move, make sure you roll behind him. Malekith ain't the only big black blade in the game, and open him up with Mini-Me's Rivers of Blood. After many deaths and rethinking my life and this run, I finally pulled it off. Godfrey, the first not the last Elden Lord, would be up next, and probably one of the easiest bosses to fight in the run. Rivers of Blood ripped through him like kimchi on a hot summer day. I never died once to this boss, and thought with how good the Mimic summon was ripping through these dudes, it would be as easy as Lindsay Lohan auditioning for a part in Harvey Weinstein's new movie. This professional grappler was Hulk Hogan if he had a baby with Khabib Nurmagomedov and developed the mental capacity of Nate Diaz. Not going to lie, don't know why they give you Erdtree heal this late in the game, but it makes healing the summon 1,000 times easier. Before fighting Radahn, I'd highly suggest switching out Rivers of Blood for the Twin Knight Sword, which is a twin blade, and infuse it with Ash of War Black Flame Tornado that you can get for beating Godskin Duo. The twin blade can be found at East Windmill Pasture on a burning corpse pile. The only reason why I say switch out Rivers of Blood is because you can't use Bleed against Radahn or the Elden Beast. Either way, it's still beatable with it, but Black Flame Tornado chunks Elden Beast. I would also get Lord's Divine Fortification, because both bosses do holy damage, and that can be bought by Twin Maiden Husks after beating Malekith. As you can see, I had to go back to wearing the Prophet robes, because Big Jesus was about to beat the game without doing any damage. At this point in the game with Erdtree heal, you don't really need to dodge too many of his attacks, other than the one where he shoots out magic bolts with his swings, and his fire attacks, and his golden shower move, which might be kind of everything. If you get a lot of the golden showers RNG, don't panic, because this whale version of Lugia will just empty his bowels on you once or twice before fully relieving himself. I did feel like I was playing Pokemon throughout the run, starting with the Fanged Imp summons, who evolved into the infamous Dung Eater, and eventually the final evolution of Blue Smurf Jesus himself. Very trackable chain of evolution that looked almost identical. My Mimic was a whirling dervish of anger that couldn't be stopped by anyone. vascular, piss-happy version of Lugia knew his time was coming to a close and went full rage mode at the very end.
Everybody says, who does he think he is? I just told you who I thought I was. A god.
Elden Beast. More like Elden ceased to exist. Yeah. All in all, I enjoyed doing this run and was happy I completed it. In the end, even though there was some points I did want to throw in the towel and rage quit and punch my pillow to get all my feelings out, or fart in the face of an elderly woman in a wheelchair at the grocery store, I didn't. Blue Smurf Jesus looked like he just got coked up and laid in a gas station bathroom by two prostitutes looking to strike it big in the adult film industry. Thanks for watching the Pacifist run. Next will be my only fist weapon run, with Mr. Fister :Twister as my character, who can only use a Castus and Bloodhound step throughout the whole game.
Baby, when I tell you Popeyes will bless your soul, do you hear me? These biscuits,